Hey guys, how are ya? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. It is June 18th, and we all know what that is, right? Because I've been talking about it for a real long time. Yes, you're right. It is that day. I am going into my P.O. box. I just stopped off at the post office to ship an eBay sale. But also, I know that someone sent me something, and there's a key in the box, so that means somebody sent me something that won't fit in my mailbox. So let's find out what it is, and then we'll talk about what today is and why I'm super excited and what I sold on eBay. Very happy with that. I'll see you in a moment. All right, 59. Here we are. What's inside? Oh, I like the box. I don't know what it is, but I like the box. It's triangular. That's kind of cool. All right, let's see what this is. Great Big World Canvas. Oh, now I'm curious. All right. Hey guys, hi. So I'm still inside the post office. It's just so hot outside. The inside of my car feels like an easy bake oven. Is anyone old enough to remember an easy bake oven? Did you burn yourself trying to use your finger to get something inside? Yeah. Okay. So it's very hot inside the car right now. So I decided to open up the things I got in my P.O. box here inside the post office where it's moderately cooler. The first thing I opened up was I received this, and it looked a little kind of unusual. I'm like, I recognized this because I know Brother Michael periodically sends me very thoughtful notes, and so I recognized the envelope. But this is a list of all of his steps forward into the position he holds right now in the Spiritans, and he's celebrating his 50th Golden Jubilee. His 50th years, 50th Golden Jubilee of his profession of vows to the religious brotherhood. So he's celebrating 50 years in the position where his higher power found him to be most useful to humanity. And I just think that is really breathtaking. 50 years serving humanity. 50 years of serving people with love, because I know he does with love. Now, we might have very different belief systems. And I'm not quite sure why he still follows me, but I am so pleased to have received this. And it's an invitation to attend his 50th, his Jubilee. And it's going to be in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, so I'm not going to be going. But what a thoughtful, kind thing. I'm so pleased for him, because I know he's a good man, and I know that he's done a lot for humanity. So I'm very pleased. And so this, thank you, Brother Michael. I had to remember my camera's over here. I usually look over there. I got this amazingly it's a beetroot, which is my favorite vegetable besides broccoli. It's a beautiful color card, and inside here, look, it's a Father's Day card from Linda. Dear Stephen, happy Father's Day. You're the best Katie daddy to Buddy and Eleanor. Enjoy the beautiful butterfly picture. Love your kindness. Take care, Linda. Thank you, Linda. Father's Day. I'll leave that alone, but thank you very much. Thank you very much. They are my babies, as you know. Now, I'm going to try and open up this, and I'm definitely going to keep this packaging, because I think I could use this when I sell one of the Viking glass birds that I listed on eBay. I wonder if I can get this open without scissors. Hold on, let me see. I'm definitely going to keep this box. I see a big pair of eyes. Makes you think of somebody, maybe? Oh my goodness. It's a poster or a photograph or something. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Can you see? Isn't that beautiful? Oh. It actually makes me think of both of my cats. The eyes make me think of Buddy, but the rest of the face definitely makes me think more of Eleanor. And you know, I don't know if it's done by accident. I don't know, and I think I know who sent this to me. I'll write a reply under what I think is one of their comments. What's very funny, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but look at this. Do you see the left ear? See how it's clipped off? Eleanor's ear is clipped off on the left ear, so I don't know if this is really supposed to be Eleanor, but isn't that great? Oh my goodness, I love that. I think I know who sent this to me, but thank you very much. That is absolutely gorgeous. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. All right, did you design this or draw this or do something? How were you involved with this? It is beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this back in its sleeve so I can protect it until I can figure out what to do or how to frame it. There we go. I'm gonna hop back in the car, turn the air conditioning on, and then we'll chat a little bit more about what's going on today and why today is such a beautiful, beautiful day. Yeah, see you soon. Guys, the season has struck. It's 110. Oh, and it's only going to get worse, and it's going to stay like this. The worst part is, let me set you up here. The worst part is that pretty soon it's going to be 110 degrees at 10 o'clock at night. Ugh, that's the worst part. But no snow, so that's good. Hold on a sec. Do you know what drink is never going to take off? Hot Diet Coke. That's never going to be a winning combo. So, today, as you know, and I'm not going to talk for very long right now because I know it's going to get very hot and my phone is going to start to sizzle and then shut off. So, I'm going to chat just for a moment. Today is June 18th. Today is my, as you know, because I've been talking about it, today is my 37th anniversary of coming out of the closet. It is shocking to me that it's been 37 years. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let me collect myself. I'm a mess right here. Hold on. Ooh, it is so hot in this car right now. I'm going to sous vide to death. How did Stephen die? Sous vide. And I'm blind. If he's... Oh, no, I guess we're not going to go. It's tricky to get out of this parking lot here at the post office. Let me talk to you when I get back at the house. Hey guys, hi, welcome home. Yes, I am accumulating figurines here. I keep meaning to list these on eBay and sell them, but I love them so much, I'm gonna hold on to them for a little while. How do glasses get, I'm looking through my glasses, it's like pudding on my lenses. How do glasses get so dirty? They're just sitting on your face. So speaking of things that I mean to list on eBay, I sold something today. I sold a painting of a Russian artist. It was done in 2004. I didn't really know anything about the signature in the back, but at one time I asked you all for some help in figuring out the name or the title or whatever. And so I listed it on eBay for $500 because I didn't know what it was worth. I loved it so much. I really enjoyed it in my home. I figured I'll just list it at some ridiculous price and see if someone buys it. Today, someone sent me an offer for $300. I thought that would be fine. So I accepted a $300 bid for the painting. Let me show you the painting here. Wasn't that pretty? I paid $5 for that painting probably 3 years ago, if not longer. I listed it for $500, just kind of, hoping to bat it out of the park for a big sale. I had no idea what it's worth. Today, a young lady in Virginia offered $300 for it, and I gladly accepted. So I shipped that out today. Very, very happy. I've got one more painting by the same artist, a Russian artist, Yuri something or other. We'll see. I don't think it's going to sell because it's not as pretty as that one. But I was going to talk to you about coming out of the closet, not about my eBay sales. So first off, before I start talking too much, if you have seen this title of this video and you're not a regular viewer or subscriber and you're just here to sow dissent and you're just here to sort of intimidate people with your little on the keyboards, you just want to darken someone's day, don't bother. I have survived I have survived uncountable. It's inconceivable what I have survived. Your little mean little words under my video are not going to even faze me. So go along, move along, go find somebody else to bother. But for those of you who are viewers or subscribers or just curious, stick around, grab a cup of tea, and let's have a chat. Oh, by the way, if you do leave a rude comment, the comment will be deleted and you will never see me or my channel again. Not that you're probably going to watch me, but blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about coming out of the closet. Buddy, what? Do you hear him? Hold on. Say hello to Buddy. Oh, honey. Honey. Yeah. What, honey? Yes, honey. Hi, baby. So, there is no beginning of any story. How handsome is my little boy? Do you want to get down? So there's no beginning to a story. So there's always something happening before the story. Now, before I came out of the closet, I had to figure out that I was a gay guy, right? So I didn't know anything about sexuality. Sexuality had never really crossed my mind until I was in my mid to late teens. I just never thought about it, but I always knew. I have a recollection of always feeling the gravity of boys or men. There was just a gravity there that I could not recognize. Later on down the road, as I got older, I could sense that I was being attracted to them, but I didn't know why. So I don't know when I first realized I liked guys, but there was something happening when I was in my early teens, 10, 12, 15, that kind of thing. And I always knew that I was different. I really didn't know what gay was. I know I've been called gay. I've been called gay. I've been called fat. I've been called everything you could possibly imagine. But I really nothing really stuck inside my mind in terms of my identity, who I was, until I was much older. But I do remember one of the first times I knew that I was not safe, even at home. And that my mother was telling a story. I was 10 years old. My mother was telling a story about this coworker of hers who turned out to be a gay guy who was very effeminate. And whenever she talked about him, she would like lick her pinky and then fix her brow, which is, I guess, something he did periodically. He was just, very aware of his brows, and I can only imagine. But this mean laugh that would follow her little thing, I just knew that I was not going to be safe around my own family at the time. Let's flash forward high school. I had run away from my mother because she was a feral animal. I run away from my mother when I was 14. I moved into my grandmother's house in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I went from living in Stuttgart, Germany to Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So I moved in with her when I was 14. She was happy to have me because she knew what my mother was like. And high school was miserable. I was fat. I had long hair. I was terrified of people. And I knew that if you figured out who I was, you would hate me. And, people don't stone each other to death socially today, but that's what it felt like. It felt very scary and very wrong. And I was at North Providence High School in the 80s. Not a lot of fun for me. But my I had two friends, Stephanie and Lynn, both lesbians of all things. I went to my senior prom with Lynn. She just passed away not long ago with breast cancer. But I went to my senior prom with Lynn, and I hadn't even told them that I was kind of figuring out that I was gay. She was out of the closet. Lynn was out of the closet. And she paid for it every single day in school. She paid for it every day. But for some reason, people were always mean to her. But to gay men, it was deadly. Lesbians seem to be a target for ridicule, but they didn't never seem to get as mean to lesbians as they did to gay guys back then. I don't know. It's weird. But I went to junior college after high school, and that first summer, the only summer break I had because I didn't go back, I had discovered going to bars, to the club scene in downtown Providence. Downtown Providence is very, very dark. Honestly, you wouldn't think it's such a small place, but there's lots of seedy, dark, dangerous things happening around in downtown Providence at night. At least back in the '80s. And a friend of a friend had who was labeled himself as bisexual, because it was safer to be bi in the '80s than it was to be gay. You were half right if you were bi, you know. At least you liked girls in some way, so you were almost okay. But I discovered the bar scene, and a friend, Carrie, had mentioned one day that there was a gay pride march on June 18th. And it was going to start at the cathedral downtown Providence, and it would end at the State Building. Now, back then, we didn't have gay pride parades. We had gay pride marches because we were fighting for our rights. Back when I came out of the closet, I almost said got sober. When I came out of the closet, it was legal to fire me if you discovered that I was gay. It was legal to deny me a hotel room. It was legal to deny me a credit card. It was legal to deny me anything as a gay person. And it was actually allowable. If I, as a gay man, made you, as a straight man, uncomfortable, you could beat me up and even kill me. It's happened. And the law said, well, I made them feel so uncomfortable that they were okay. It was legal to assault me because I was gay. I mean, it was not a safe time to be out. I can only imagine what people had to go through in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. The 80s were dark because it felt like you were supposed to be free. The 80s were very exciting. Everything was opening up. It was a very exciting time. Whatever. But, so I woke up the morning of June 18th. I woke up at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't think about it. My mind wasn't working, but my body took over. I threw on the worst possible outfit you could possibly have imagined. It was a black and yellow. Funny, I wear black and yellow today for work. But it was a black and yellow buffalo plaid shirt, a pair of denim cutoffs that were long down to my knee, that were slashed in the front. I had safety pins all over them and like glitter fabric glue all over. Horrible. And a pair of black plastic like fake sneaker kind of things. I don't know, it was the worst outfit. My hair was pulled back with a yellow thin hair ribbon in the back of my head. I had really long hair back then. And I just threw clothes on just to get out of the house, and I fled to the bus, and I ran to the bus stop, and I jumped on the bus, and I was downtown before I knew it, and I'm running to the cathedral, and I burst into what seemed like a massive crowd, a huge crowd, tens of thousands of people. There were probably 200 people, and because it was still not, you didn't want to be out in public. You didn't want to out yourself because it was not a safe time. There were probably 200 people there. And I saw this kid, Carrie, who introduced me to a few kids that were part of a youth group called Wrigley. Not the chewing gum, Wrigley, Rhode Island Gay Lesbian Youth. And it was a group of kids. You aged out at 21, I think at 21 or 23, I forget what it was. But you could only be a part of this youth group when you were 20, until you were 21 or 23, something like that. He introduced me to this little group of young people who were at the parade, and I marched with them, and suddenly there was a signal, and we all started walking, and we walked through a deserted downtown Providence. There wasn't a soul on the street, but it was thrilling. It was thrilling. And we ended up at the State House at the top, at the grassy little hill there. And I just remember moving through what seemed like this infinite crowd, feeling for the first time that I belonged somewhere, that, again, you may never know what it's like to be alone in your head and then to be introduced to your community, your people, your tribe. It was crazy. It was crazy. And I met those kids, and we met every Saturday at 1 o'clock in the back of the Cafe Royale. If you are in Rhode Island, in Olneyville, I don't know if it still exists anymore, but there was a cafe called Cafe Royale. They were open late at night. I think they closed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But they were open late for drinking and eating and blah, blah, blah. But we met behind in a back room, and basically even like sat on crates, and just we sat around and we were able to have this little clubhouse of young gay people, lesbians, gay men, bisexual, and there were a man and a woman that were probably in their early 30s that volunteered to be sort of, I don't know, like our den mothers. Like they sort of like were guides, like a high school guidance counselor kind of thing. But it was a guy and a girl, and they just gave us tips on how to maneuver through the world as a gay person. And this was, of course, the time when AIDS was on fire. Everyone was dying around us. And, he gave us a lot of tips on how to be intimate more safely, because we came to learn there was nothing really safe about sex at any point, but there was safer sex. And he gave us tips on how to survive an intimate world, and I'm so grateful for him. He's that one guy, I can see him, I forget his name, but he's probably the reason I'm alive today, because it was a dark time. So I went to that parade. I went to the march. I went to the Pride March, and I went home and got to the kitchen, and my grandmother was my angel. She saved my life many times. My grandmother and I had an argument the night before, or earlier that morning. I think it was earlier that morning. We had an argument. She said something, I said something, and we never got in a fight because I could walk on water in her mind. But she said something, I said something, and she went to raise her hand at me. Not that she would ever hit me. She couldn't reach my head. She was so short. But she would never actually hit me. But she's a little Italian grandmother. She was going to threaten me with that. And I raised my hand back to her. And I've replayed that moment over in my mind endless times. Because I hurt her a lot in my life. I think teenagers will never know how much they hurt their parents. But I ran off to this march, this Pride March, and she and my grandfather went grocery shopping. I wrote them a note with the intent on hurting them, on hurting their feelings, because they hurt mine. I don't even know what it was. I don't know why I was mad, but we had this argument, and I was like, really? You want to slap me? You want to hurt my feelings? I'm going to hurt you back. And I wrote, I'm gay. So there. And I thought this note would be a cutting edge, and I thought it would really hurt them and shock them. I didn't know I was as gay as I was. They knew. Everyone knew. But, and then I left the house. I left the note on the kitchen table, the orange plastic vinyl round tablecloth, the color of pumpkin. I left the note there, and I left the house, and I came home to find a note on the table. They went to dinner, but they left a note on the table, and it was a brief note, and the note said that they loved me, and no matter what road I went down, they would follow. My grandmother loved me more than anything in the world. She really did. My grandfather loved me, but he was a difficult man to love. He loved fiercely but quietly. He survived the war, World War II,
and he refused to talk about it. He never even talked about it to his wife. Some horrible things happened during the war, and he never really shared about it. And he kind of kept a lot to his chest, but he loved his family fiercely. But he was very much like Archie Bunker, if anyone remembers Archie Bunker. He was bigoted. My grandfather was a bigot. He hated anybody. If you weren't French Canadian or Italian, he was French Canadian, she was Italian. He just didn't even think of you as human. My aunt Patty got a tattoo from this guy, this Puerto Rican guy that she loved. It was, I forget, his name is Gino. Gino, Gino. And she had it tattooed by somebody with a pin on her arm. And my grandfather forced her to wear a Band-Aid on her arm for the rest of her life. Because he was Puerto Rican, God. He at one time told me that if I pierced my ear, that he kicked me out of the house because he did not like the idea that I was gay. But and so I pierced both of my ears eventually. I didn't get kicked out of the house because my grandmother loved me, But the fact that my grandfather quietly accepted me for who I was. He never talked about it. He never mentioned it, but he accepted me. That's so different than a lot of my friends. When I first started going out and hitting the bars and being living openly gay was I 19, 20? My closest friend at the time, his name was Steven too. He was the same age. So he was 19. At 15, he had come out of the closet to his parents because he knew. Oh boy, was he gay. Boy, he was beautiful. He was beautiful. Stephen O'Neill, gorgeous. Like an angel. He was so beautiful. He was pretty. He was so pretty. Dark blonde hair, big fluttery eyelashes. He was so pretty. But his parents kicked him out of the house. He was 15 years old. They kicked him out of the house. And what else? Where do you go when you're 15? But the streets. And so he hit the streets. And by the time he was 15 and 16, he was working. He was pulling tricks. He would walk around the arcade downtown Providence to pick up a trick and make some money. I don't know how we met. I have no idea how we met. But he is the one that pierced my ear first with a needle, a sewing needle, and a piece of potato. He taught me how to dress for the time. It was all his fault. And he was everything to me. He was a real true friend. We would go to this bar called the No Name before security showed up so that they wouldn't question our age. And I was a big boy at the time. So we would walk into the No Name, upstairs to the No Name, before security. So we would be drinking and half lit by the time security came in. And we ran out of money because we didn't have much. Stephen would say, "I'll be right back." And half hour later, he had money. We were buying drinks. And they were just wild, crazy days. It was crazy days. How long ago this was? The B-52's Rock Lobster would be playing on the dance floor. We danced to the B-52s. It was that long ago. Love Shack. I remember Love Shack. We would dance to Love Shack at the No Name. It was a great time. But so I came out to my grandparents and they accepted me. That's how I came out of the closet. That was June. August, my mother came to visit Rhode Island. She was living in the desert, San Felipe. She was living in San Felipe, the desert. Because when I was 14, and I told her that I was leaving. I was going to my grandmother's house. She was fine with that. She was happy with that. She didn't want to have a kid. She didn't want responsibility. She just wanted to be drunk and high the whole time and whatever. So after I left, her husband got out of the army and they moved to Mexico. And that August they came to visit. So my mother to me seemed like some sort of anti-Auntie Mame. If you're gay enough to know the reference. My mother seemed like a distant aunt to me, but one that would pinch my cheeks and try to yank my heart out at the same time and step on it. She was horrible. My grandmother asked, "Are you going to tell her? Are you going to tell her that you're gay?" And I hadn't decided. I hadn't decided. But that whole summer, I was going out dancing and drinking and drugging, and I wasn't eating a lot of food because I was dancing and doing drugs and all blah blah blah. And we were dancing on speakers, and I lost a ton of weight. I was fat. I was a fat kid, but I lost a ton of weight. And by then, my friends had said, "Steven, you know, it's the '80s. Cut your hair," because I had really long hair. So I finally cut my hair. I lost weight. I seemed to have developed a personality, buddy. My mother didn't recognize me. She hardly recognized me. She's like, "What happened? What's going on?" I said, "Well, I go out dancing a lot, so I think I've lost some weight." She goes, "Oh, what bars? What kind of bars?" The story is taking forever, isn't it? I'm so sorry. My mother went to all the bars. She went to all the gay bars back in the 70s and the early 80s. She said because the gay bars had the best music and the drinks were cheap, and she could rest assured that she was being hit on by guys. So she loved gay bars. But she's like, "Oh, I know all the bars downtown. You know, what bars are you going to?" I'm like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "No, really, what kind of bars are you going to?" And I was trying to get off the topic. She's like, "No, really, we should go out." I'm like, "They're gay bars, Mom. All right, they're gay bars." And there was this beat of silence. And she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, I've known you were gay since the first time I saw you run for a bus in the rain." Because it was the 80s. And my hair, when I finally cut it, was the sculpture of Aquanet. And I would use hair picks, lift up my hair, spray it with Aquanet, blow dry it while it was up so it looked like this. And then I would spray the tops and then fold that down. It's a wonder I'm bald. I would fold it down so it looked like a prow of a ship, or almost looked like a paper airplane. But you know, when Aquanet got wet, it looked like semen actually in your hair. Or white jello, whatever you want to say. But Aquanet, when it got wet, just kind of crumpled. And so I would, if it was raining and I was running for the bus, I was like, "No, my hair." Umbrella? What am I going to do with an umbrella when I get to the bar? So, yeah, that's what my mother said. She said, "Oh, I've known you were gay since the first time I saw you run for a bus in the rain." For the rest of my life. It's one of the few times I can think about my mother and smile, honestly, because it was hysterical. But, yeah, that's the story of how I came out of the closet. When I was 20, I was working in, if you guys know what a bathhouse is, if you don't Google it. It's not pretty. I was working at a bathhouse midnight to 8 in the morning, and this guy would show up every night. He would show up every weekend, every weekend, but at night he would show up every weekend at like midnight, and then he would sleep until 8, and then he would go home, because he lived in Salem, Massachusetts, and he would go out and do the, whatever dirty stuff he did in Providence. And he went to the bathhouse not to do anything dirtier, but he would sleep there, and then because it was cheaper than a hotel, and then he would drive home that night. So every weekend morning, he would meet me at when I was getting off of work, and we went to breakfast at the Down City Diner. I haven't thought about the Down City Diner in forever. Is there anyone from Rhode Island that knows what I'm talking about? The Down City Diner, we would have Portuguese French toast. Eventually, he said, "Hey, why don't you move up to Salem with me?" So I don't know why. I had nothing to offer him except for, well... So I was like, sure. So I moved up to Salem, Massachusetts. You've heard of Salem, Massachusetts, right? So that's how I ended up moving up to New England, up into Boston. That relationship lasted roughly 3 weeks, a month, 5 weeks maybe, and it just wasn't working. So I told him he was not surprised that I was leaving, and I moved down to Boston to live in a rooming house, and Boston became my home. Boston helped define who I would become later, and so Boston will always be my hometown. I was born in Rhode Island, but Boston is my hometown. And that's how I moved to Boston. My first job was selling hot sauce in a kiosk in Faneuil Hall Marketplace, actually Quincy Market, selling hot sauce at a shop called Le Saucier. And I was 22, and drinking was already a problem. Drinking was already a problem. But I met my friend Marcus. He is my longest friend. I've known him the longest in my life, and I'm thinking that this last thing I'm going to tell you, this last little story I'm going to tell you, says something as to why I'm proud to be a gay man. I'm proud of who I am. We talk about pride every June, and it's hard to imagine for some straight people. I'm sure they're having a hard time thinking, why the hell would you be proud? I was working after the hot sauce place. I was selling makeup on a cart for Carol Lucas, wearing a pair of cheap wooden clogs on cobblestone. It sounded like a Clydesdale. A white t-shirt and khaki shorts. That was our uniform. I was selling makeup for $5 a piece I'm sorry. It was 4 pieces for $20 of cosmetics. And I've always sounded like this. I've always sounded gay. So I don't have to walk around telling people. But this woman walked up to me, kind of pulled me aside, and said, my daughter just told me she was gay. She whispered, because she didn't want to tell anybody. She just didn't want anyone to know. She said, my daughter just told me that she was gay. And I said, immediately, my first reaction was, oh, congratulations. I'm like, oh, congratulations. And she looked at me, immediately puzzled. Why would you say that? Well, I said, congratulations. And that if she came out to you, she trusts you. She's going to share her uttermost secret, honest self with you, finally. After all the years you've known her, you've not known all of her. And that she was going to share with you, honestly, who she is today. So she trusted you enough and loved you enough to give you the gift of really knowing her. And I hope she understood that. I don't remember what her reaction was to that, but I remember saying that to her. It may or may not have been as eloquent as that, but that was the point I was trying to make. Being gay, you are told by most of our society that you are broken, you're wrong, you're a pervert, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. How dare you be around other people? How dare you think that you're equal to us, and blah, blah, blah. That I have not only survived, but thrived in the face of hate. I have come out to become this person that has understood the pain of others. I've experienced enough of my own to be able to identify with other people who are going through a difficult time, who are different than other people. I can celebrate other people's successes, and I can be there to commiserate when they kind of fall apart. And being gay, that doesn't really make any sense, does it? But that's how it feels. Being gay really does open up a door to compassion for others that I don't know how else I would have learned these lessons. Another aspect that I really have think that has been vital to who I've become today, even as a flight attendant, is when you are just before you come out and you're trying to suss out the world and see where you're safe. You can hear before you walk into some rooms. I know this video gets longer and longer. Before I walk into a room, I can kind of hear. I can already start to determine whether this is a safe place or not for me. I can hear the tones of voices, the words being used, the I don't know. I can hear a room and already know that I can hear malicious laughter versus genuine, joyous laughter. I can already tell before I walk into a room sometimes whether or not I'm going to be safe and comfortable in that room. Now, today, it would take a lot to make me uncomfortable. You cannot intimidate me really at all ever now. But when you're growing up and you're a baby gay, you start to learn how to look around the world without your eyes moving. Is this a safe place? You can, because you can't outright look at a handsome man, but you can learn how to look and see without turning your eyes. There's like, you can gaze around the room without moving your eyes, and you learn these skill sets on how to sort of suss out your environment. And so it became a survival skill, but now down the road, it's become an amazing skill to have even as a flight attendant. When I'm moving through the aircraft, I can sort of sense different emotions. I can see when a girl needs a tissue. When I can see a girl is about to cry, I can just walk up to the lavatory, grab a couple of tissues, and hand them to her and give her a little wink. There are skills that I've learned that were born from fear and other people's ignorance that now have given me these sometimes superhero-like abilities to recognize someone else's need or someone else's pain. And I just think without the experience of having survive the 80s as a gay man, I don't know if I could do that today. Blah, blah, blah. I know I seem to be putting these blocks together that don't quite match, but that's how it feels. I have quickly lost the light of the day, not the light. I'm clearly crazy right now. I've been talking so much that I'm probably high on oxygen. But I just wanted to share that little bit of a story of me coming out of the closet and whatever else it is I said. But I want to wish all of my friends and all of my family in the LGBT community a very happy Pride. You're amazing. You have survived unknowable things to get where you are today. And if you're still struggling, if you're still out there wondering, questioning whether or not you're safe when you can be yourself out there, you can do it. You can do it. The world can be a safe place for you. You'll just figure out how to maneuver through it. It's not easy, but nothing good is easy. Nothing great is easy. Except I was going to make a joke that wouldn't have been very appropriate. But know that I love you. And to my friends who are not LGBTQ plus blah, blah, blah. To my friends that are in the cis, straight, white, beige, brown, khaki colored people who are straight, bi, asexual, pansexual, know that I love you too. I love you too. Thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh, fly safe. I forgot to say it.